Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Puck Around and Find Out. We're your hosts, Sydney, Bridget, and Grace.
This is the podcast where women run the rink and the conversation.
And if you're new here, this show exists because hockey deserves smarter, more inclusive, and honestly, more entertaining conversations.
Exactly. Hockey culture is huge, but a lot of the conversations around sports still come from the same perspectives.
And that's slowly changing, which is great, but we figured we'd speed that process up a little.
So, on this podcast, we talk about hockey itself, obviously, but also the culture around it, the weird traditions, the drama, the fan experience, all of it.
And today, we're starting with something that's actually pretty universal about sports.
Nicknames.
Which honestly might be one of the funniest parts of sports culture.
Yeah, because sometimes the nicknames are super cool.
And sometimes they're literally just someone's last name with a Y added to it.
Hockey players are not exactly known for their creativity.
No, Bridget, not at all.
So today we're talking about sports nicknames, how they exist across sports, and why hockey might be the one sport that takes it to an entirely different level.
Let's get into it.
From courts to fields to frozen ground, we break it down, then puck around. The smartest sports talk, no doubt. Puck around and find out.
So, nicknames are basically everywhere in sports.
Like, some athletes are almost more famous for their nickname than their actual name.
Like, for example, LeBron James is often called King James or the GOAT or LeBron or Bronny or just all of those things.
Yeah, and honestly, at this point, that might just be one of the most fitting nicknames in sports, because he really does rule basketball.
Right.
He's literally the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Right, but then you have guys like Magic Johnson, whose real name is Irvin, but most people just call him Magic.
Which, that's actually wild because the nickname literally came from a sports writer after one game in high school.
I mean, football also has tons, like Tom Brady being called TB12.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that actually.
And then baseball fans know George Herman Babe Ruth as the Babe.
Wait, his name is George?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm learning so much about nicknames
I
right
did
now.
not
I
know
didn't
that
even
his
know
name-
that.
Or like the Great Bambino is also
Yeah,
another one
yep,
that he
yep.
has too. So it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Right, and I knew the ones about from soccer, like Cristiano Ronaldo, he basically built his brand being CR7.
Right,
Yep.
right. And Messi is just known as Messi.
Right.
Yeah.
So no one knows him by his first name. I don't even remember what his first name is right now.
Right.
Right.
Wait.
Lionel. It's Lionel.
Lionel.
Yeah.
Oh, real.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
but like I just know him as Messi. So
Yeah.
Right.
it's kind of the same thing. I mean, like, nicknames in sports, they're more like their brand.
Right.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And
Yeah.
they're definitely a part of their image. Like, I feel like a lot of their images is surrounded by their nickname, no?
Definitely.
No, yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
And like hockey nicknames, they feel more like they are made in the locker room rather than made by fans per se.
Yeah. Like, it feels like part of team culture, and like I feel like that's where things get different with hockey.
So, what I'm hearing is like hockey nicknames are more on a different level because actually I don't really follow hockey that well, but like how would you like describe that? I don't know.
Like, in hockey, nicknames are pretty much synonymous with the sport. Like, for example, there are a lot of Blue Jackets players. So there's Mason Marchment, and people just call him Mush. Or there's like Kirill Marchenko, and people just call him Marchie. Like, even the fans. So like, it's not just necessarily a team thing. Yeah, a lot of fans. Like, when I'm watching, I know I'll be like, "Oh, come on, Marchie, come on, Marchie." Like, I'm not like, "Oh, come on, Kirill,"
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
that.
So is it just something that like everyone knows, you would say?
I would say definitely. I think definitely hockey fans know that for sure. And I think like even if you're not a hockey fan, if you watch like or like go to like one or two games, you'll pick up on that really, really quickly.
No, yeah. And like these are kind of nicknames that aren't super creative. Like they're just shortened versions of their last names or their first names. So it's kind of something that I think it would be easier to catch on to even if you're not a big fan of the sport or of the player.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So like take Wyatt Johnston for a second. Last name Johnston, but his teammates and like a lot of fans call him Johnny. Or like you take Will and Riley Smith, last name Smith, but everyone knows them as Smitty.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense for sure.
Yeah, I mean, these players are really just like copy and pasting their last names, shortening them, and then that's their new nickname, which is really interesting.
Pretty much. Rookies definitely don't get to choose. Like, I feel like that's
Right,
definitely
yeah.
a thing. They're the teammates, the veterans on the team are definitely like, all right, that's your nickname now, sort of thing. But yeah. But recently, there's been some debate about fans like using player nicknames. So
Some players love it.
yeah, others think it's really, really weird.
And yeah, especially when fans try and act like they personally know the players by using their nickname, I can see how that could be scary.
Oh yeah, definitely. So this is like the big question I feel like that's been really popping up recently. Do players actually like when fans like call them by their nicknames, or do fans deserve to be able to call players by their nicknames?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like that's like a mixed answer from most players, especially in different sports, but in hockey specifically, it seems to be mixed. Some like it, some don't.
Yeah. And some players see it as a connection with fans, but other fans, they kind of think it's weird. Just
Yeah.
because they don't have that connection with them, which I can see both sides of it. But to what I'm understanding, I feel like everyone in the hockey world like somewhat has a nickname, so I feel like there's a big contention of where it should be or shouldn't be used, which I feel like is something that we should really
Yeah, right.
Oh,
yeah,
for
talk
sure.
about.
Yeah, because like they're saying that it's like their locker room language, which I totally get. Like you develop these close relationships with people, and you all have nicknames for one another. Like a nickname that you got from your family when you were young is not a nickname that you would expect someone that you met in college to call you, unless they were a very close personal friend that like has met your family, heard them like call you this before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird when these nicknames that might have developed more internally within the organization are becoming this like widespread thing that fans are now calling them.
The only thing I would say to combat that though is I feel like if they're, and I don't know, maybe that makes me a little harsh, but I feel like if they're used in media and they're used like around when talking about the players, because like well, actually question, but are they used like do announcers call these players like these names, or do they call them by like their government name?
Sometimes both. So like there's Kirill Kaprizov, he plays for the Minnesota Wild. And a lot of people call him Kirill the Thrill. And you'll, like, if you ever watch a Wild game, like, you'll often hear them being like, oh, Kirill the Thrill, all that stuff. So I think it's interesting, for sure. I think it's also, like, I really think it depends on who gave it to you. Because if it's, like me personally, if I were an athlete and someone called me by a nickname that maybe my friends or my family gave me when I was younger, that's a very personal thing to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd want strangers calling me that. But like if my teammates gave it to me, then I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, like okay.
Right.
But I
Right.
would, but like my main point was like if it's in the media and that's what people call
Yeah,
you, like
sure.
I feel like you're
Yeah.
it's kind of just how it is at that point. But I don't know. I feel like that's a conversation we could talk about forever, honestly.
No, exactly. And I feel like a good example of that would be Jeremiah Smith here at Ohio
Yeah.
State. Like everybody calls him JJ, and that's not his name, but that's a nickname that people have given him in his family.
Yeah.
But he hasn't necessarily come out and said anything about it, but it's also used in the media. So it's kind of a mixed opinion from both fans and players. But like you said, this conversation could go on and on.
Yeah.
So today we talked about sports nicknames across different leagues.
And how hockey kind of takes the concept to another level.
Where nicknames are basically part of the language of the locker room.
Next episode, we're talking about another huge part of hockey culture.
Superstitions.
And hockey players might be the most superstitious athletes on earth.
Well, thanks for listening to Puck Around and Find Out.
Bye.
Bye.
From courts to fields to frozen ground, we break it down.